All right, Brandon, we got Coach.
All right, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. First question will go to Olin Buchanan, Texags.
Yeah, hi, Buzz. Looked like most of that first half you were playing just kind of defense that the way you draw it up, I guess. What changed?
I think in the first half we gave up more points in transition than we typically would like to. I don't know that anything changed relative to our principles, Olin. I don't think our execution defensively was very good. We did a better job in the first half of contesting threes than we have done in any half thus far. That was encouraging. I thought the first 15-ish minutes, maybe even 16, we kind of started and played the way that we left off in Starkville. And then I thought we closed down the half without much energy. It wasn't zero energy, but it was just lacking relative to the cohesiveness that we need to play with on both ends. And then I thought we started the second half worse than we ended the first half, and maybe played that away for about 10 minutes. And then maybe from the 10-ish minute mark to the 6-minute mark in the second half, we had a little bit of fight and competitiveness in what we were doing. But we were up 7 at some point, close to the 6-minute mark in the first half. And then we were down 18 at the 10-minute-ish mark in the second half. And so it's that space where we struggled. Yes, defensively we struggled. Way too many points in the paint, too many offensive rebounds, not obliterated on the glass as we have been at times, but too many points in the paint. And then offensively, just no groove, no rhythm. And so it's just the Jekyll Hyde. It's the sustainability of what's required, because we can't be up 7 and then down 18 in a 15-minute span. And then on the other sides of that, we were okay. It's just we've got to be able to put more minutes together on both ends.
And is Andre emerging as maybe your offensive threat, of lack of a better way, or was that just the way the game, the flow of the game called for?
I think starting his 4th semester in college, I don't know that I would necessarily say, wow, he's about to be one of the best. I'm not saying it in an arrogant way, but I do think his production and how he works each day has become much more consistent. I think he's become more confident from that work. I think he's playing off 2 feet as well as any ball guard can. I think he had one turnover at Mississippi State, and he had 1 turnover today. So in 60-plus minutes this week that he played, 1 turnover each game for a team that turns the ball over at a high rate, that's encouraging. I do think that he's approaching real player level. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Buzz.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next question will be Travis Brown of the Eagle.
Hey, Coach, I know this season after losses, a lot of times the conversation revolves around fight and effort, and especially defensively. And kind of from what you were saying, first half carried off from Mississippi State, good fight. Second half, not so much. This might be the $10,000 question, but what do you do with a team like that? Does it fall on the players to pick the other guys up? Does it where do you go from there?
No, I think it always goes on the coach. You know, I read every newspaper every day on every Power 5 basketball article written other than Texas A&M. It's through a software app, and I watch a lot of press conferences by coaches because I want to learn. I never want to come across and say that, well, we just didn't make shots or they made shots. And I always want to make sure that we're ultra respectful of the opponent, their players, their staff, and the job they're doing. Missouri finished 7-11 last year, and they're top 20 in the country this year, coming off a pause due to COVID. Quanzo is one of my heroes. I absolutely have the utmost admiration for who he is. I think the only way, Travis, and if there was a better way or a more efficient way, I would do it. I just have to tell our guys the truth. And that's what I do. And that's hard to do when things aren't going well. But that doesn't mean that it's going to change. But I think that I have a responsibility to them for their life, not just for their game. What is it that, why is it so volatile relative to your emotional level or your competitive level or your energy level? Why does it go up and down and there's so much variance? And that's not one player. Obviously, that's our team, because our team is going to have to, like you saw on Wednesday night, our team has to do that. And similar to what you saw in that 15-minute span today, our team has to do that, because we don't have, even though Olin's being nice about Dre, we don't have a guy that's just going to, like, change the tide. It has to be collectively, it changes the tide. We played 12 guys at Mississippi State, and we played the same 12 guys tonight. So 200 minutes dispersed amongst 12 guys is obviously, we're trying to find any group of 5 at any point in time for any amount of time to have that energy level. And so I tell them the truth during practice. I tell them the truth during the timeout. I tell them the truth during the game. I tell them the truth after the game. I don't know that that's right, but I think long-term for their life, it's right.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, next we go to Chip Howard.
Buzz, how big a matchup problem is Tillman for you?
Oh, I think any player that can pass, dribble, and shoot and score, Chip, regardless of size, is a matchup problem for us. Anybody that can force rotation, whether that's on the perimeter, whether that's from a ball screen, whether that's off a post catch, any player that forces your team to play in rotation is going to cause problems. And he for sure does that. Number one does that. And when we weren't in rotation, we were okay. But that's not because it's Texas A&M, Chip. I just think that that's any team. When you get into rotation, that means there's 2 guys on the ball for whatever reason. And so that means on the weak side of that, it's an advantage, disadvantage. And I think that he's very efficient in what he does and how they utilize him.
You've talked repeatedly about 52 to 54 points in league play is really hard to overcome. What kinds of things are you trying to do to generate more offense?
I think our offense has to help our defense, and I think that's what gave us a chance at Mississippi State. I don't know field goal percentage-wise that running different plays necessarily changes it. Obviously, it helped. We scored 3 baskets from our post players at Mississippi State, which aided our field goal percentage. It's hard when you have perimeter players that don't score and take multiple shots. That's hard to overcome from a field goal percentage standpoint. And that's why our offense has to help our defense relative to turnover rate. Like, even if we just get a shot, that at least maybe gives us a chance to get a foul call. It gives us a chance to get an offensive rebound. Today, we had 11 offensive rebounds in a game that was only 64 possessions. So it's not great, but it's for sure good for us. But our turnover rate, 64 possessions, and we turned it over 17 times. So as much as we need to score points, a portion of what would help us score more points, even if our field goal percentage stayed the same, was if we just got more shots at the rim instead of turning the ball over at that high of percentage.
How demoralizing is it when you do get a rebound or you do get to the rim and can't finish that shot close to the rim?
Yeah, I think all players and all teams want to make as many shots as close to the basket as you can, whether that's a design play or whether that's off dribble penetration. But even getting a shot, if you have 64 possessions, and I haven't calculated it, but 64 possessions with 17 turnovers, that prevents you having a shot at the rim. Even if you're going to miss the shot at the rim, maybe if you miss the shot at the rim, you have a chance to get the offensive rebound and or get fouled. We shot We shot 13 free throws today. I think going into today, I think we were ranked in the top 30 in the country in free throw attempt / field goal attempt. And so that's a good number for us. We do need a high percentage of our points coming from the free throw line. But in order to get to the free throw line, obviously you have to at least get an attempt up. And so that would be what we need to continue to find ways to improve at.
Thank you.
All right, final question in the queue is from Jessica, KBTX.
I think this kind of goes off of what Travis was asking, but I know JJ mentioned that energy was kind of the issue tonight or today. Did you see that? And then when things did kind of get cold and shots weren't falling, what were you seeing out there? And I guess I'm going to throw 3 questions at you right now, but I guess what do you want to see from practice this week after everything that happened today?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, Jessica. I think being offensive sensitive and waiting until your energy is apparent based on if you make a shot. Good teams can't do that. I'm not saying that we're a good team. We want to be a good team, but we can't wait to make a shot for our energy to be evident. We need our energy to be evident at all times, and then from that energy, that allows us to make more shots. I'm not exactly sure what JJ said. I never tell our guys what to say to the media or to anybody else other than just tell the truth. But I do think that our issue is sustaining a high level of energy. But I don't think, Jessica, that's just on game day. I think if you're seeing it on game day, that's also what's happening on practice days. And so it's not like we're perfect on practice days and then we suffer from energy deficiency on game day. We have that same volatility during practice each day. And so instead of trying to figure out different plays or being demoralized, like Chip said, on missing a layup, the thing that we have to address first and find a solution to is how can we have the same level of fight / energy, competitiveness, the right spirit, the right communication on a daily basis. And I think I mentioned that maybe that was to the TV guys on Zoom after I talked to y'all yesterday. We've tried a lot of different ways to figure that out. And then this past 7 days, we've just done the same thing. So this week we did the same thing each day that we did last week, trying to see if instead of changing stuff over and over and over, maybe that was a part of the reason it was so volatile. Let's just do the same thing every day, and then we have evidence if we're improving. And so to some degree, I think that helped us this week in this 7-day period. We played 20 really good minutes at Mississippi State and got our first road win. And we played the first 15 minutes really good. So it was a 35-minute segment that we were probably as good as we have been all year. And so it's not a 40-minute week. It's an 80-minute week relative to the public's exposure. But it's probably, if you play 2 games a week and 1 day you're off, it's those other 4 days where you've got to find some consistency relative to the question that you're asking.
Yeah. Is that frustrating when you see, like you said, those last 20 minutes against Mississippi State and the first 15 today, this is what we can do, and then it kind of drops off?
Yeah, and I think, we watched film a little bit this morning at shoot-around instead of having what you would call shoot-around, and that was the kids know. The kids know. The kids understand that it's not as if we're only having these conversations with you guys after a game. But, it's like a paradox. Like the reason I talked to you guys after the last game and it was so good, it was because of our energy. And then the reason today it was a loss, well, it was because of our energy. And there are ways to quantify energy, and maybe shots are a part of it. But I think it's really evident in how we play that it's just too much of a roller coaster. It needs to be more of a straight line, and that straight line has to be developed on a daily basis.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.